bundled up here in October, huh?
I know for sure, man.
Me too. I
Absolutely.
got my
Cool. Well, welcome everyone. I'm going to turn it over to Russell Inyar, the man, the legend, the myth. Russ, rock and roll.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I know there's a bunch more people coming on right now. As a matter of fact, I am getting like blown up with text messages, which cracks me up because it's the same link every week. Hold on, let me finish this last couple. But today we are lucky enough to have Jackie Moon with us. I actually met Jackie originally not through real estate, which is crazy. Jackie and I both have a really expensive and time-consuming habit. We have kids in travel softball, and then it turns out that we had that similarity, both of us in real estate. And then I started to find out what an absolute rock star Jackie is. And the funny story with Jackie, at least in my opinion, Jackie, you can disagree with me, but Jackie was actually a bigwig in the Silicon Valley. He knew everybody, super high level of executive, and he decided to really just slow down and move to the Yuba City, Marysville area. However, it is not in Jackie's nature to slow down. And Jackie has won every award imaginable, the Lifetime Achievement Awards. He's in every King Amazing club that you can think of in real estate, has a gigantic team there. As a matter of fact, I think he runs that local association there because he did an outstanding training. And that's what brings us to here today. I actually went to Jackie's short sale training. I've only been a full-time real estate agent for a couple of years, and never, ever have I been in a short sale market. And I asked Jackie to jump on today and condense his 10 hours of training into 25 minutes, which is a magic trick in its own. So I don't want to take away any more of his time by edifying or introducing him. Just trust me, Jackie is an absolute rock star, tireless worker, fantastic real estate agent, and amazing human being. So I will turn it over to Jackie.
Good morning, y'all. Thanks for those kind words, Russell. You humble me. And Tom, I don't know if you remember me or not, but I've done a deal with you about 5 years ago. And a couple of my team members also done some deals with you. So I remember you.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely, man. Let's do another deal.
and I know you know everything about short sale. Well, let me go ahead and get it started so we don't have a whole lot of time. Usually I like to do interactive, training, but since we don't have much time, like Russell said, you're trying to take 10 hours of information, shrink it down to 25 minutes, it's going to be a really difficult task by itself. So let me go ahead and get started and do it, what I can. Okay, short sale, you guys, I'm sure heard of that. It's actually not a short sale, it's a long sale, okay? Short sale basically is when the borrower or homeowner, the value of the property is less than what they owe on it, and when they sell, they can't pay the full amount of the loan back. So they need a mortgage holder's approval to get that approved and make the sales happen by them agreeing to take less than what's owed on it and release the lien and whatnot. Which to make that happen, it takes a lot of work and passion behind it. If you're just gonna, like touch into it, whatever, don't even get started because it takes a lot of work. Okay, what causes short sale to happen? Events in life, unemployment, relocation, medical issues. Medical is always like #1 thing that happens. Okay, I'm from Korea, and I never understood country big as and great as this country is, that anytime there's medical issues, more or less it causes bankruptcy in the family. So when that happens, of course, the real estate stuff needs to be dealt with. A couple of the terminology I'm going to get into real quick, and I'll go really fast since we don't have a lot of time. There's 2 types of loans in the state of California, which is called recourse loan and non-recourse loan. All the primary residence loan, the first original loan is it's recourse, a non-recourse loan, which means that you have a collateral attached to that loan, and so they cannot come after you for your other assets. If something goes wrong, they take away your property and you're done. Okay, non-recourse loan are the recourse loans that they can sue you for and come after you for the deficiency. Commercial properties, investments, multi-units, the business, things like that are all recourse loans. Okay, those have to be dealt with a little different than non-recourse loans. Okay, a state of California is what you call non-judicial state, which means other states, there's 3 states out of non-judicial states in the United States, which means that when the foreclosure happened, you don't have to go to the court and get judge's order for foreclosure to happen. What we get is notice, okay? We have, when you're delinquent, you get notice of default posted on your door, and you'll get certified mail, gazillions of them, to let you know that you're notice default, and that becomes public record. Then 45 days after that, technically, but it takes a lot longer, then you get what you call the trustee sales date, and that's when you go to the court for the auction. If nothing happens there, then the bank picks it up, then it goes to the trustee, and then the asset manager takes over. Then that becomes an REO, which Russell knows, a whole lot about. So short sale, we're trying to get everything done before we get to the auction date, the trustee sales date. Okay. Debt forgiveness. A lot of people are concerned with that. Once debt is forgiven, that you'll have that's considered income, and that you'll be taxed on it. Which on a primary residence, I have not seen anyone get taxed on it yet. Okay. However, if you do get taxed on it, in the state of California, you have what you call insolvent status, which you show that you're upside down in your finance, your asset, and everything. Then you're exempt from taxation. Okay, we're not tax experts, so when you run into that, have them talk to a CPA and accountant. In fact, to have a CPA and accountant that really what you work with is really good thing to refer your clients to them so they can talk to them about some of these issues. So that way you don't have to give them any advice on these things. Okay. A lot of people ask about credit. What happens with the credit consequences? Well, technically, the minute you go through short sale, only way you get an approval or have them work with you is for you to start missing payments. And this is a really hard thing to discuss. And I'm not going to get into too lengthy of it because it is hard to discuss. It's pretty hard to tell people not to make their payments. But if they're going to hire you to do a short sale, they're making payments on time, they're not going to open up your short sale file for you, no matter what your excuse is. Okay. Long as you're paying, whether you're robbing your kid's piggy bank or not, they don't care. You're paying, they're not going to do anything for you. So only way you have short sale file open, start getting a negotiator to work with, whatnot, is once you start missing payments. Okay. How you talk to your clients about that is up to you. Okay. That's a little tricky thing that you have to learn how to get your clients to understand. It's a difficult one. Trust me. People just freak out sometimes. But anyways, when you do short sale, you lose about 100 to 200 points at the beginning. And if you get short sale approved, it's on your credit report for 2 years, and it reads debt satisfied but not paid in full. Okay. And then of course, foreclosure 7 years. It's like getting a speeding ticket to DUI. Okay. You get a speeding ticket, you get moving violation, 2-3 years later, it drops off. Whereas if you get a DUI, it's on your record for 10 years. Okay. However, that's a really important thing to understand. Also, is the people without short sale isn't for everybody. Okay. You got to talk to your clients. People that are in military, people that are in a high clearance, like a federal investigator, things of that nature. They do a background check on everything you do for your future. So if that's kind of employment that you're in, short sale may not be the right thing for you. So you gotta, we'll get into that a little more if you guys want to talk about that later. Okay. Bankruptcy. This is something that I've always heard. They say, oh, I don't have to do short sale because my property is in bankruptcy. Here's the thing about bankruptcy. The primary residence cannot be in a bankruptcy. It's collateralized, secured. Okay. So when you hear that, what attorneys do is they throw everything you have, all the debt you have, into bankruptcy. And that if you have a second or third lien on the property, they do an appraisal and prove that there is no collateral for that second and third, which becomes unsecured loan, then they can have that removed through bankruptcy. But when bankruptcy is done, you still have your first mortgage that you need to deal with. So if you're gonna file bankruptcy, I always ask people to do a short sale upfront first, then do a bankruptcy in the rear. So that way, if second or third, mortgage holder want you to take personal note to get something approved, which would be unsecured note, you can go ahead and agree to it to get the short sale done. Then when you file bankruptcy, you can throw into bankruptcy and eliminate the whole thing, okay? So those are just a little terminology. Let's get right into the processing of a short sale, okay? Okay. Again, short sale is not for everybody, okay? You need to talk to them and set the right expectations, okay? I'm sure Tom knows, you know, when they hire us to do a short sale, we fail to deliver that, it's a foreclosure, okay? And if they do nothing, the people that are going to be doing this, you know, they're going to be foreclosing anyway. So we're trying to avoid it from going to foreclosure, but they got to understand that for whatever reason, if we don't deliver, that's the result, and they have to understand that we're not going to tell them that they're not going to have a foreclosure. We're trying to avoid from foreclosure to happen, but you know, my rate was 98% approval, so that was pretty good. So, but a lot of people sometimes think, or you know, the way you talk to them, you know, they think, oh, I'm not going to have a foreclosure. Yeah, I got this guy who's going to, you know, get me out of this situation, and that's not true always. Okay. You got to have a lot of passion for this. It's a lot of work. Okay. If what I think is going to happen happens, whether you're going to be involved in short sale on the listing side or represented on the buyer side, you're going to have to know what you're talking about, because it's completely utterly different than your normal transaction. Okay. Typically, short sale takes anywhere from 3 months to 9 month, average about 3.5 to 6 months. Okay. So these things are really important thing to understand. And a lot of the agents that don't understand short sale, they go around saying a lot of negative things about it, and they go around saying things that is not true, and that hurts all of us. Okay. One of the reasons why I started this conversation here up in Yuba City is for me to educate more agents as much as possible. Last recession we had in 2009 to 2014, the 20% of the foreclosures that occur in the United States was caused by realtors and lenders not being ready and not knowing what they're doing. That's a lot nationwide, 20%. So hoping that, you know, small little town here, we can start something and start, you know, at least start the conversation. So we won't, you know, allow that to happen. Okay. Don't take the listing if you don't know what you're doing. Okay. Don't wing it. That's a terrible thing to do. Okay. If you don't know what you're doing, it's okay not to know. Get somebody involved that knows, that will help you. Okay. I work for Remax Gold. You know, you guys are with the EXP. Any one of you call me up for my help, I'm always here to help. I even go on a sales calls with people from other companies and whatnot, because I'd rather have it done right than to have you guys wing it and mess up the consumers. Okay. So that option is there, but please ask for help. Like you guys got Tom there. Again, I know he knows a lot about this. So if you guys need help, and ask him for help, and I'm sure he'd be there to help you. Okay. So, okay. Here's the thing, when you talk to your clients, the things I dealt with it right at the beginning, a lot of people don't realize that if they have a mortgage on a house, it's not their property, it belongs to the bank. Okay. So when you're doing a short sale, just because they're upset and they're going through hard times, please tell them don't destroy the house. Okay. A lot of people go over there, take their sledgehammer, destroy the heck out of the house. They steal all the appliances, cabinets, all this stuff. In the past, the banks didn't do anything because they weren't going to spend good money on a bad situation. That might be a little different this time around, because all the equities that are built into the houses that, you know, we're dealing with in today's market anyways, you could get charged criminally, the clients, if they do that. So please advise them not to do that. It does not belong to them. It is collateral for someone, you know, a bank. It's their property until it's paid off. Okay, that's really good advice for them to know right away. Once you get the listing, you how to put it in the MLS, you have to put a disclaimer in there, okay? That says it says that the price, the terms, condition, and commission are all contingent on short sale approval. That is really important disclaimer that you put it on there. You put that on the listing, you put it on everything that you do, because first thing the banks do when you submit a short sale package, is to cut your commission. Okay, they'll do everything to cut your commission. Okay, understand something. You do not represent the bank. Okay, you still do your listing. You represent your client. You do not have any fiduciary duties, anything to the bank. And most banks, they have this disclaimer that they have you sign that states exactly that. Okay, so their job is to get most money for themselves, which is to cut your commission. So even though listing agreement says 6%, you may end up with anywhere from 3 to 6%, depending on how good of a negotiator you are. Okay, so keep in mind, you're doing everything you can for your client, not the bank. Okay. Let's see. Time period. Okay, some banks will not process any short sale or even accept until you have notice default. That's Bank of America in 2009. That's 90 days. If they don't have notice default, they won't even work with you. Okay, but don't let that discourage you, because you got to continuously work with them. Now, the minute they get notice default, then things move really, really fast. Every bank is different. Okay, I'm hoping this time around that that they would start the process even without the people missing payments, because they realized by doing that way they lost a lot of money last time around. And GMAC and a couple other banks were going to start that before it all came to an end. So I'm hoping that that will be used again. Okay, so here we go. The documentation needed: third-party authorization letter. That's in our card form. When you do that, please put the title company of the company that you're working with, as well as the escrow officer. Why? Right at the end, when you got to get everything done, something always changes, and all the numbers has to match. Okay. Now, when you get the approval letter, there's a date on there when this file needs to be closed, and that's not closing of escrow. That's a closing of escrow and all the money that they approve to be wired into their bank account, which means we really have to close 2-3 days in advance before the funds are there. If you send the funds in even an hour later, everything get rescinded and you have to start over. Okay, so you want to make sure your title escrow officer have ability to call them if there's a discrepancy in the numbers or the items, whatever, that they can talk to them directly to make those corrections instead of coming through you to expedite things so we don't lose the deadline. That is really, really important. So I always tell people in Russia, you heard me say that, have a really good relationship with the title escrow officer that you're going to be working with, as well as lenders, and make them realize, understand this upfront, that you are looking for this to close like 2 days in advance of the date that's put it on the approval letter, not on that date, because if they do that, you're not going to get it done. Okay. A hardship letter. You're going to have your the sellers write up a hardship letter. What contents in there? You can advise them certain things, but it has to obviously be a hardship that where they read it and realize, oh God, this guy needs some help, whether losing your job, relocation, things of that nature. The better, more compelling letter you write, the better off you're going to be. Okay, financial statement. Now, in the past, I've seen the banks do not go over every item on the financial statement. Okay, so how you want to advise your client and fill that up is up to you. That application has to show that you're completely upside down for them to move forward. You know, when you buy a house, you prove to people, you write an application to say, I qualify to buy this house. Well, this application is to prove to them, I can't afford to pay or buy this house anymore. Okay, so you got to have everything on there that shows you're negative, you can't pay this mortgage. Okay, food costs, gas, all these things get thrown on there. Okay, short sale also is something, if they're going to do, they might want to plan on doing it and plan it, not just do it, because the things they need also is bank statements. Okay, if you got a lot of money saved up in your savings account, that's going to be an issue. They're going to want some money from you. But if you have that bank account closed a month before you start short sale, they're not going to, be in favorable of that. So if you know this is right, you're going to go, you may want to plan a several months ahead of time to move certain things so you can protect your assets if you have any. You're gonna need a current proof of income, last 2 months of whether it's a social security, paycheck, 1099, or do your own P&L statement. Okay, if you're self-employed, you're gonna need these things to provide for them. Last 2 years of income tax returns, every single page. There cannot be any pages missing. Okay, mortgage statements, and lastly, listing agreement. Now, all these in the past, now they may change the process as we move forward because technology is much better than what it was. But in the past, you got to take all these forms and fill it all out completely. And then on the top right-hand corner, you write the borrower's last name and the account number, the full package, and fax it in. Well, no one hardly uses fax anymore. So I'm sure there's going to be a negotiator that's assigned to you. And you probably, I'm guessing you'll scan it and email it to them. Okay. Russell, you know, in an REO, asset manager are crucial. In short sale, you're looking for loss mitigation department. Okay. So any one of you deal with the Chase, B of A, you guys have loss mitigation information, share with each other. Okay. And that's one of those things you want to have on your database. So, you know, when you run into a client with that bank, you know exactly who to go to, because sometimes you spend a lot of time looking for the right person or right department. Okay. So with short sale, it's called loss mitigation department that you're going to be working with. Okay. Okay. So once all the docs are filled out, everything has to be turned in. You're going to get an offer. Okay. Now, the offer is not always the highest offer, okay? The offer is, the best offer to submit, oh, before I get into that, bank only deals with one offer at a time. Meaning if you got 20 offers that come in, they don't want a 20, okay? They want one. They'll work with one, they'll reject that one, then you send in another one, okay? That's how they work, okay? They got too many things going on for them to deal with the multiple offers, okay? So, what you think is the best one to negotiate with is when you send in, but be in communication with other the agents to let them know what's happening, because you may need them. In short sale, and Tom can tell you this, first offer you submit is never the offer that's going to get accepted. It's never the one that's going to get the deal. Okay, that's more or less, I hate saying this, guinea pig. Okay, you'll find out exactly what bank wants and what kind of terms they'll give you and approve. And then if you have 2-3 other offers behind that, those are the ones that you're probably gonna be in escrow with. So keeping good contact communication with the other agents that put the offers in, and make sure that they're, I've always told them this, hey, I'll keep you updated. And if, you know, as long as you tell me, you promise me that if your buyer happen to change their amount or bail, you let me know so I can take you off the list. Okay. And then of course I make a lot of phone calls to let them know each time something status change or whatever happens.
Jackie, just to clarify, you send in the lowest offer and then you keep the others in your pocket?
Well, that's up to you how you negotiate. That's what I do, because here's
Okay.
the thing about that. Okay, banks always gonna want more than what you put in. So say you listed at 300, you got an offer at 250, 300, and 350. You put in 350 and say they owe 400. Okay, they're gonna want a little more than what you put in. Okay, that's a good question. I always put in 250, okay, because that's my lowest. That's how, you know, when you negotiate, you always negotiate from the lowest point of view, you know, if they're high, or if you're high, you know how that works. So then what I do is I start at 250 and they go back and forth, and they say settle for 300. And the guy that put in a 250 say, hey, I'm not going up to 300. Well, they don't have to. You already have an offer at 300. So you can call them up, hey, they offer 300. Are you still in? They're in, you're done, you move forward. Okay. Always remember this. That's not going to sound very good to you guys, I'm sure, because you have, hey, wait a minute, you have an offer at 350. How come you didn't use that? Your job is not to get the maximum for the bank. It is get the short sale proof. By the time you go after that 350 and he cancels, say, you have to replace that 350, because bank's not going to approve anything more because they already approved 350 and you had a buyer for it. But if you're at 300, then that gets canceled. Well, there's somebody that's willing to pay 350, so you can really easily get $300,000 offer because it's $50,000 less than what they want to pay. So you got to really be smart, and you got to need everything about short sales negotiating. Okay, everything, your cost, your commission, everything you're negotiating. So you want to throw everything in there and negotiate from there down, whatever the bank, is willing to approve. So once everything is submitted, you call them every week. I use post-it notes on binders to keep my days. Like I go in circles. Like I call them here and say, okay, call back in a week, and I put on my file on the top, and I put it over here, so that way I'm not shuffling through my files, whatever, to know when to call them. Okay, it's manual thing, but that's how I work. So record keeping is really, really important. Follow up is super, super important. If your record keeping is not great, your follow-up is not great, short sale is not for you. Okay, because that's where you get things done. Just continuous calling. You call your negotiator, get an update. You call the agents that put an offer and give them updates, and move on. Go to the next file, and you continue to move that way. Approval. Okay, once you go through the whole process and they give you an approval, in the letter itself, look for the words like debt settled, no recourse, debt satisfied, no more obligations. These kind of words are really important to look forward to in the letter. Some smaller banks get a little tricky and write something like debt forgiven, but they reserve the right to seek for deficiency on a later date. That has become illegal now, okay? Because Governor Schwarzenegger, a while back when he was governor, approved what we call one action state, declared state of California one action state. What that means is whether they approve short sale on non-recourse or recourse loans or not, they can only take one action against that loan. Meaning if they approve that and forgive you of deficiency, they can't come after you afterwards. They can take one action. They cannot approve that and sue you if it's recourse loan and come after you that way. Whatever they decide to do, they can only do it once. So if they approve the short sale, then it must not have anything on there that says that they can seek for deficiency on a later date. If you get a letter like that, then you challenge them, and that is against the law in the state of California, and make them rewrite that letter. Okay, and most of them would do that because they know what they did was wrong. But still, some of these laws haven't got into them yet, so you see some of these things, which I did at the end anyway. So maybe they changed it. So look for those wordings. Okay. Have the lenders, the buyer's lenders, have everything approved. Once it's approved, they're going to give you 30 days. Okay, the bank, actually about 25 days. Okay, so have the bank have everything approved on the buyer. So once it's approved and the approval letter goes to them, all they got to do is order an appraisal and get that done. Because if they're trying to approve somebody there, do verification of employment and all that stuff, they're going to run out of time. Okay, so working with a good lender that is efficient is really, really important. Again, the banks has to have their money by the date that's on the approval letter. Okay, and one last thing here is once escrow is closed, about a month later, have them pull a preliminary title report, because some of the vendors got really smart, and when they realize the house is going to go through a foreclosure or short sale, they have to say mechanic lien against it, they'll pull that lien off, so they don't want to get wiped out. Once a new buyers buys it, they throw that lien back right onto that property. Okay, no one really knows about that until they go to sell or refinance years down the road. And to
5 minutes.
Yes.
5 minutes, please.
Yep. To try to fix that is going to be very, very difficult. But if you find out right away, you can fix that. Okay. Lastly, I did this really, really short, but lastly, the things we haven't dealt with in the past that we're going to have to deal with now, liens for solar, HELOC loans. The liens for solar scares the heck out of me. And here's the reason why. Whether you purchased the cash, if you purchased it with cash paid in full, no problem. But if you financed it or have a purchase, sharing, purchase agreement or lease on it, then, it's on the person's name as well as the property. And how do you negotiate that out? And physically, who's gonna take care of it? Because regardless what they agree, don't agree, their equipment is still on the property. So if they come and remove that, then what happens to all these are all new things that's ahead of us. We never dealt with it. So it's gonna get a little more hairier. But here's the thing, lastly, and we're done here, is this. Short sale is coming. We already got 3 up here. Okay? I'd rather have you guys at least hear about it a little bit now and research more. I can get into a lot more in details and give you a lot of scenarios and examples as things happen. Russell, you can give them my phone number, emails and whatnot. I'm here. I know this was really, really short, but it's like 10 hours of information that you all need to know. Okay. So with that said, I'm out.
Hey, Jackie, I have gotten about 7 direct messages. If you could share whatever cheat sheet you keep looking down at in some type of a digestible format, and when we post this on the internet, we'll include that with it so people have your cheat sheet if it's something that's usable.
Yes, and one last thing is, this is off subject with short sale, is this. Because interest rate being what it is, guys, look into assumable loans. Especially people that bought in the last 2 years, whether it's a VA or FHA, because FHA without CalHFA, without second, third on there are all assumable. Okay, remember, if they bought it less than 2 years ago, interest rate was only like 3-4%. Now it's 7.5%. So the payment difference on, say, $400,000 with the PMI not being on a VA loan, you're looking at $1,000, $1,200 a month. Okay, that should
Jackie,
be
I
our
have those
key.
letters. You're not supposed to share that. I have those letters going out right now.
Oh, well, I didn't get into details. We got our letters out too.
But that is an absolute gold nugget. If you didn't hear that one, then just don't rewind, don't go back and listen. that is gold.
Well, it's hitting the mainstream right now, Russell. And that's the only reason I brought it. I mean, it's on CNN, it's on CNBC. It's everywhere. Turn the TV on, they're talking about it.
Right. I mean, if you have an assumable loan from 2 years ago, it's at 2.9% interest. Right? Who wouldn't want that? You're saving $1,500 a month versus today's 7.3 or wherever we're at. Right? You're going to get all of your money back in 24 months that you spent on assuming the loan.
And when you guys are at, the price is much higher. And so you also say, because VA don't have a PMI, so you're going to save like $200, $250 just not having a PMI.
And the best part is, as real estate agents, we're helping both sides and we're getting full commission.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And
All
that's
right.
the subject.
Sorry.
Well,
We can do this all day.
much, Jackie. Thank you, Russ. Real quick, this Friday, we're having Rock Thomas. If you don't know Rock Thomas, I mean, he has over 100 million lives that he's impacted. He's amazing. You don't want to miss it. That's this Friday at 9 a.m. And then Don Yoakum has an announcement for next week.
Yeah. Well, before I talk about dialing for dollars, I want to just acknowledge Jackie and Russell for this morning, because that was gold, Jackie. I mean, really, what a service to the real estate community, to our team. Thank you. That little tip right at the end about the assumable loans. Oh my gosh. By the way, don't tell anybody, you guys, but you can go to places like Property Radar and they can tell you what type of loan it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So
like Russell said, it's a big deal for sellers as well as the buyers, and we become heroes.
I've already pulled the list for 3 counties. We have a letter almost done. It's going out this week. It's a smart way to market.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Russell, for making this a bigger point, but I just that alone was worth the price of admission. Okay. You're gonna be able to get your sellers like $25,000 more than the competition with a rate like that. You can do the math.
We got one right now they're paying $35,000 cash for it, Because here's another thing. Since you're assuming, you don't have to do an appraisal.
Right, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, Jackie, you are the man of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Okay, so you guys, there's a way to make some money. But that being said, there is a state of fear in the market. Okay, a lot of agents are putting their heads in the sand. We're choosing not to do that. We're going onto our toes, and we are going to start dialing for dollars, right? And so what we're going to do, whether you are a prospecting fool and going for productivity, or you are doing attraction like myself, we're going to meet now beginning Tuesday, November 1 at 9:45 Pacific at www.dialfordollars.live. Okay.
It's in the memo.
And yeah, it's in the chat. We're going to do 15 minutes of role play, just like Matthew and I do on Saturdays. And then we're going to call for 2 hours. Okay. So we'd love to see you there. We're going to have some really fun things, people that book appointments. We're going to have drawings and contests and so forth. But guys, this is not the time to let the foot off the accelerator. Okay. Your competition, in fact, Tom and I were discussing this morning. In about 6 months, and for sure within a year, 25 to 30% of the agents are going to vaporize. Okay.
Right.
They're going to be gone. Okay. They're still hanging on right now because they haven't had to pay their renewals. Okay. But they're not really working. Okay. So if you will put your head down right now and treat this as an opportunity, man, in 6 months, this is going to feel good because we're going to still have, like, I think Tom, the numbers Tom gave me, they're projecting about 4.7 million transfers, okay, next year, which is down, okay, from over 6 million. But 4.7 million is still a ton of business. It's 9.4 million transactions. So plenty of business. Hope you guys will join us. We're going to have some fun. We'll have some prizes. And we really look forward to seeing you there. And so come dial for dollars with us beginning next Tuesday, 9:45 Pacific. That's all I got, Tom.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Jackie, Russ. Thank you all later. Thanks. Have a great day, you guys. See you
All right,
Friday.
guys,
Good
thanks.
day.
I got
See ya.
There was